we have used the time to embrace the colleagues that are coming. I see 42 people currently enrolled. On your screen, you see my course outline. Manuel, can you see the outline, please? It is labeled document 10. Please, can you see it? I'm sharing that. Till 304, second semester, 20. That one will change. The 2020 that will change. I'll edit it out. Anybody who can see it? Can any one of you see it? I want to be sure if you see my screen before I start.
Yes, Lord.
Excellent.
Yes,
So we'll move on. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. So it's course title, Social and Political Philosophy. The course code is Phil 304. Please take note of that. It's not PHCL, it's Phil 304. It's a 3 credits hour course. That means you have 2 hours contact time, direct contact time with the lecturer, an hour contact time of tutorial, making 3 hours, per week. Okay. The venue is main campus. Those of you on main campus, this is city campus, but since I'm doing the outline, Mondays 3:30 to 5:20 at N3. It is required that you attend every lecture, whether online or in person. So city campus test, yours is for this week, we do online, Monday 12:10 to 2:10. Next week will be in person, God willing, will be there. You know my details, my name. My office hours changed this semester because look at the time I'm teaching, I couldn't do Monday 10 to 12 like I did. Then it means people will meet me. Okay, I just came from another lecture. So my office hours is now 11 to 1 on Tuesdays. For this semester, that's 2022 second semester. My room number hasn't changed, my email. Please, as much as you can, reduce the WhatsApp messaging and the calls. It is not anything. It's because sometimes I'm not prompt there. Okay, the responsibilities have become so many. So it is in your own interest if you send an email. Okay, WhatsApp, sometimes I look at it. As I'm teaching, if my phone beeps, I'll look at it. So I've read it. Whatever it is, I've not been able to respond to it. After the lecture, it has been read. So it doesn't show as unread for me to attend to see. You will have to keep sending and sending and sending. But if you send an email, before I go into my emails, I want to make sure I have time. Okay, then I can deal with whatever it is, unless it's very urgent or it's something that is a quick clarity you seek, clarification you seek, then we can deal with it. That's Nalamle's name. I have taken off her contact sheet. I want her permission first because this is recorded, but you would have it on your course outline proper. Okay. Now, someone read this quickly for me. If you don't read it, when I call you promptly, you're absent. I will not I will not play around at all. I think you understand that. So we can have a good. I want to make sure you are social and political philosophy or scholars. The course is not sociology or political science. You see, there's a thin line there. So you have to help people see you are doing a philosophy of social issues and political issues. The philosophy of it, like philosophizing on those. Okay. So some of the content you may think they overlap, you may get complacent. You may have seen the social contract theories in peace science, for example, or some of the social issues we raise may have appeared to you some way, somehow, maybe sociology or social work or some kind of descriptive study like that. If you are inclined towards that one kind of thing, you may miss it a little because we are doing a fundamental question asking. We are analyzing, interrogating, questioning certain standards in those theories. That's what makes it a philosophy. So I want your full attention and I want to make sure students are with us. Okay. Ejapon Rosina, please read what you see on the course outline quickly for us. And then we will move. Quick.
Course description.
Thank you. Go ahead.
This course examines a range of philosophical views about the nature and constitution of human society and the most appropriate ways of organizing it. It begins with the question of the legitimacy of the state and explores questions such as the authority of the state or government and its justification, whether, why, and how the state should be obeyed, and whether civil disobedience is justifiable. The
Okay,
court
so just
started.
before you go, just a minute. Thank you. Hold on. So what Madam has read so far captures almost all the topics that we'll treat. Okay, just one paragraph. We are going to examine the nature and constitution of human society. The nature, how is this human society? What do we mean? What is the nature? The nature is what it is. What is human society? They're not just what it is, but how is it constituted? How does it come to be? You know, we will engage that. Then we will look at how to organize it, not just organize it, but do so appropriately. So when we see us discussing roles, distributive justice, justice as fairness, what have you, it is in a bid to explain or to propose proper solutions about how to what organize human society in a fair way, in a just way. The economic systems we will look at, the capitalist system. When we get to those, we are doing all that to make sure that what we know how human society will be organized. When we receive questions like Charles Taylor's paper, Atomism, which by now you got yourself introduced to it, I think, in either level 100 or 200. If you took my courses, then I think you did. They would have had an introduction to that, the individualism, communitarianism debate thing. Okay. Now, that thing is trying to look at what constitutes human society. When we say human society, what are the constituents? Are they individuals or they are persons or they are communities that make up human society? And how does it come to be? So you will see that the social contract theories of Locke, Rousseau, Hobbes that we will be engaging in some detail. Of course, you would have heard about them, generally speaking. If you Google, you get so much to read on them. But the details we put to it are aimed at helping us answer the question of what how human society is constituted. Human society, how does it come to be? What makes it up? If it's a baby on your lap, it is a man's so and so and a woman's so and so that come together to create the zygote. Is that the name? Yeah. Then it forms and becomes a baby. So you know how babies are constituted and what their nature is, what a baby is. It's a human being, which means what it breathes in oxygen and breathes out, blah, 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 all the things you see around that, okay? The thing's nature first, then how does it come to be? So the nature of human society and how it comes to be. Then now how it is organized. That is a key focus of what this our course, which is a core subject for philosophy, is focused on. That's one of the key focus. Then it says we will begin with the question of the legitimacy of the state. Is the state, whatever it is it a legitimate entity? What do we mean by state? Is it a legitimate entity? Why is it that I have my own, I'm an uncle and I have my own niece? I say that a lot. If you have sat in my lectures, sometimes I give those funny examples. I say I have my own niece, and I took care of her, and she's now 12 years, and I want to taste her a little. I'm speaking figuratively. Then there's some people come and they say it is the state versus me, Ijabintu, for raping my niece. Is she not my niece? But when you rear chicken, hey, you eat some. So why should some states be saying that they have? Even the girl hasn't complained. The state is angry. Who is the state that thinks he can determine whether I can enjoy my niece or not? It's the state versus Ijabintu. What legitimacy does that state have to interfere in what I am doing in my room, my bedroom? Is she not my wife? If I want to beat her to a pulp, who has a say? It's the state versus Asimis. But I am strong and I don't have money. Can't I use my muscles to slap that poor sister who has money but is not strong and is driving that 4 wheel and coming them, pim, 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 pim. If I have energy, me too, I use my energy and beat the sister and collect her money so I can eat. You say you have labeled it armed robbery and you are arresting me. And the person coming to arrest says, it's the state. What is the state and where does it get its so-called quote and unquote legitimacy from to be able to, so to speak, impose? I'm speaking the way I'm speaking because I'm going to interrogate those. So it is imposing laws and deciding how people should live and how things should be done. And everybody seems, even my own money that I've worked hard for, before the salary is given to me, Nancy, some state we takes a certain percentage. Look at your phone calls now. E-levy takes some, and it is coming from the state. So the question is, does the state have that legitimacy to determine how I manage my resources, my life, even my own life? I want to take it, just that I couldn't finish. Then the state is angry at me. Is it them? Is it their life? Not them, my own. You see that kind of thing. This is the question. The life, if it be my own, yeah, I don't know, my Fijian friends. I have some Nigerian friends. I'm trying to reach out with all that. Okay, so the legitimacy of this, that is where the question is coming from. When you see us talking Locke, Hobbes, Rousseau, and they are talk about the social contract, and someone saying that, well, so the state is an absolute and must be obeyed regardless, like Hobbes says, or seems to be saying. You see, what is making him say that? Then when you know what he's saying, which is your work, you are going to do that and present a response to me in groups. Okay, we work together. If you hear him saying that, what is the rationale for that? How is he grounding that? What evidence does he have in support of what he's saying? And then now your work begins as a philosophical thinker yourself. You critique, you analyze, you try to interpret, you evaluate, you examine to bring out the views, and then you propose your alternative responses. Okay, so the legitimacy of the state is key. We'll explore that question. Then the authority of the state or government and its justification, because some of the authors would want to distinguish what the state is from the government machinery that has been set to help the state run. So some authors are distinguishing the state from government, and others think, well, the state and its government are the same. It's a philosophical thing. So we are careful about the assumptions that are taken for granted in other disciplines. No, we are very cautious of that. We don't want to say, oh, the state and the government are not the same. Says who? The philosopher is raising questions. So when you want to say that, then you say it advisedly. Okay, and its justification. Still on Madame's reading, whether and why and how the state should be obeyed. See, whether should we obey it or not, that's the question. If you say yes, we should, why? If you say no, we shouldn't, why? That's the second level. And then if we all agree that there's a reason why we should obey, then how should we do that obedience? If you say no, we shouldn't obey, then how shouldn't we obey? See, the state, and whether civil disobedience is justifiable at all. So those who say, well, as civilians, we are able to disobey, but we do it in a civil manner. Okay, what is the justification? So you will see that we read Martin Luther King Jr., we look at some Credo. These are texts that are out there. They are easily accessible. So you get the raw narrative, then you can now do your philosophy of it, which is what we will engage together. Okay. I threw some light on what Madam read. Thank you. My lady, what was your name again? I don't want to repeat your name. I missed you now.
Japo Rosina.
Thank you, Rosina. So I now want to take Enoch Akato. Enoch, read the second paragraph. Still on the course description. Quick, sir.
The course further engages an examination of the arguments put forward from various perspectives in defense of a presumed relation that necessarily exists between the individual and the community within which she lives.
Good. I made a comment on that, so you can go on.
The fundamental question to be explored here is whether human society is constituted by atomic, self-sufficient individuals, or rather by community-created beings whose very essence is inextricably tied to community.
Well done. I think you did well with that one. Whose very essence is inextricably tied to community. So the discussion we had, I suspect from levels 100 all the way to second semester, to first semester level 200, on the relation that supposedly exists between the individual, quote and unquote, and the community. I say quote and unquote because we would have seen personism and the author's concern with the use of the expression the individual without advice. When we use it that way, we have engaged that it creates a conceptual difficulty that continues to fuel the supposed disagreement between individualists and communitarians. If we would only realize that human persons are not individuals, neither are they communities, they are persons. That is what they are, a blend of individuality and communality, then perhaps it will be clearer to us what we are actually dealing with. The concern is where to incorporate individuality to the detriment of communality, or where to give priority to communality over and above individuality. And yet, either way, it affects the person because the person is a blend. That discussion will be highlighted a bit more here after engaging Taylor's critique of the word social contract theories. The atomism text is a critique. Charles Taylor is criticizing social contractarians who think of the human person as what? An individual who has his or her right. He has his or her right, and then she has decided she's a boss on his own, sort of. So she's a sovereign. Then you are also a sovereign, and the third person is also a sovereign. These are individuals, supposedly, who now decide that, okay, we want to come together and form society so that we can be protected. Charles Taylor says that thinking underlining the social contract theories, it is the basis of the social contract theory. He said that thinking is faulty. We don't start human society with what? An individual, another individual, another individual, atoms. You see atom? As if they are independent without each other, and then they just decided that they want to come together. He says, no, it's a wrong starting point. So he takes from Aristotle and our own African Lacan authors and say that the human being is born into a human society. You are naturally social. What others will say, you belong to a polis, a collective. Onipa frisru besi fema obesi onipa krum. Quote, when the human being descends from above, it descends into a human habitation. So you can't have an atom kind of a human being, says Taylor, criticizing his what? Social contract colleagues. Don't think that the boss human being is an atom independent without any relation, but then decided that to make him have a better life than what he has, he's going to contract with others to form human society. He says when you do that, then it makes it possible for that human being to say, okay, so today I don't want to contract again. I am going on. He says you don't have that choice. Belonging to human society is obligatory. It's non-optional to the human person. And that is something that you have already seen from the communitarian debate, from African communitarians to the Western communitarians that we engaged when we did personism together. Now, the point is, where can we agree with Taylor to, and where can we say, well, we agree with you, but now where you are going also is problematic. We will engage that discussion a little bit more to phase out the label of what atomism that Taylor is what was expression is criticizing our Lockean friends and Hobbesian friends, but he's criticizing them, he's labeling them as atomists. Why? What's the reason? I've given you an inkling of it. Are human beings self-sufficient? So if human society is not constituted by atomic individuals, then what is the constitution of human society? We are back up here, see, nature and constitution of human society. And then are human beings necessarily tied to a specific quote and unquote community? Remember the personism paper. If you forgot to go and find it, because we are not allowed to give you copied materials now. So it's just the references we'll give to you for you to keep going and looking for it. I don't even know how to do it. We'll see. Let's talk after class. So the last paragraph, and I'll read that, and then the rest will be for you to go and engage. The course will provide a general, a reasonably detailed discussion not just a discussion, but an analysis. That's where the philosophy comes in. You break the thing down. If you analyze, boom, boom, you show the implications. You try to restate what the person is saying, to open it out. Then you examine, you shake it. So if you are saying this, then does it mean this? And what if it leads to this? Couldn't it generate that? That is examination. And then you evaluate. Evaluate means you do what? You pass judgment. That is where you will also make a proposal or a proposition or a response. And your response may be to agree to an extent, with the exception of X, Y, or Z, or to totally disagree, all with what? Reasons. That's what makes it philosophy. Not just saying things. I don't think he has said anything, so I disagree with you, full stop. Hey, that how to go around disagreeing. Well, we can all disagree like that. You should have reasons that have been well thought out. Okay, so if you do that, we'll go to an analysis of some socio-political systems aimed at ensuring certain conceptions of social justice. I already mentioned that justice as fairness, Rawls' justice as fairness. You see that the capitalist system, socialist systems, you have seen Karl Marx, maybe in peace science, I'm presuming. You've seen Karl Marx and Engels, you've seen Hospes. These are an extension of the debate between individualists and communitarians, but now focused on what? Economic systems, not just social systems, but the economy. Sikasem, money, resource distribution, and what have you. They will find Rawls' justice as fairness very handy there. Okay. Questions such as whether the state has the right to tax citizens. I told you about my own. Before my money gets into my account, as I'm speaking to you now, today is 27. Some entity that labels itself state. See, I'm speaking. I want you to see the reason why libertarians, you understand that soon, those who stress liberty, freedom, rights, individuality, so to speak, to the extreme, they will say it is illegal to take my money in the name of saying, oh, it's tax. Why taxing me? I have added labor to the work I've done, and I have earned what I've earned. I can decide to throw away that fresh car into the bin. It shouldn't be your headache. I bought it. Me, myself, and I. My hard work is coming from luck built up there. Okay, we'll see it in some weeks from now. Okay, so the libertarians, mostly those who are affluent in society, they have something, they are rich, if you like, will not like the idea of taxation. Because tax means it is not for you, but you are coming for it to go and give it to some other person. So we'll build roads on the so that those who don't have good drinking water, we can. If they don't have good drinking water, they should take. They should take and get good drinking water. You see, so there's that extreme left who would say that those who would say that we don't want tax, and they make an argument that it is not fair, it is not a just system. Then you get those who say to each according to his ability. You see, from each, to each according to his need, from each according to his ability. We take according to your ability. So if you have children, you say you have 5 children, 10 children are taken care of at a foster home or something. Those that have sickling status, if you have some greens in the food you are serving, you see that you give them more. Okay, let's use fathers mothers in an African home. Our mummies will normally give the big fish protein part to our fathers who are already full of protein, which is not really good, according to who? Those who are sharing and they have a concern for balance. They would say you should rather give the egg and the big fish and the big meat to the little children who are now growing more tissue. They are now growing muscles. See, they need it for growth. And giving it to the father who is already overburdened with muscles. Give father some greens, kuntumre with our fish, small plantain, it's okay. Give the eggs to the little ones because they need it more. If you come to affirmative action, they say, oh, this society, they have looked down on women, or that place, they don't allow women to even go to school. So it's difficult, you have to run and go to school and all that. So if someone is coming from that place, then the lady with aggregate 67, if there is anything like that now, should be given priority over the gentleman with aggregate 49. Even though the 49 looks good, they look at some circumstances surrounding that. I'm giving you all this to help you see, have a wider conception of what it means to have a just society, and why it's a philosophical concern worth discussing, which Rawls and his friends try to mitigate. So Rawls's justice as fairness will be a response. He's trying to bring a solution, so to speak, to these two extremes. Those who say, no, 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 it's mine. So what I do with it doesn't matter. Don't come taking it in the name of state and go and give to some people who will not work. They will sleep. Look at Africa. We are on everything precious is in Africa, from gold to diamond to trees to sunlight to everything. Yet every morning you go a begging. You see, the person say they are not working, they are lazy. Then come and tell me they are poor. So I'm rich. How did I become rich? I worked hard. When they were sleeping, I went to get the mango from the bush interior. The mango is still there. I planted it. It's also good. I came to juice it, and I have mango juice. Now that I've bottled it, you are telling me, oh, yeah, we are all Adam Nana, Adam's descendant. In Adam Nana, come some people are hungry. You have plenty of food. If you give some people some, why? Why are you saying that? There's mango in the interior that they should wake up and go and dig. There's plenty fish in the sea in Africa. They should go and dig. Add labor and own it, says the extreme libertarian. So they feel taxation, for example, is not just. While the others feel, you too, if you have so much, who will protect you? Is it not the same society that will protect you? The policeman standing there, who should pay him? If everybody is enjoying what they have, who is giving you that protection? Did your car fly to your home? Didn't it pass on the road? That road must be done collectively. Your children that you have, they must enter school. That school must be built. So we have to tax. And so that's the debate. The needy must be helped. It is a must. It's not an option. That's why we must tax you, not tax your pity. Okay? Now, Rawls's justice as fairness deals with that word disagreement. We hope you can also critique him and tell him that he didn't succeed. That is why it's philosophy. But don't come saying that he didn't succeed because you have a mouth to say it. You see, if you say he didn't succeed and you have a reason you are trying to put across, then we can all engage it together. Okay. So by what I have said, we have gone through the details of the course outline. That when we get there, you see the syllabus, the topics page. We have captured everything. I could even end the lecture today. Then you will do the reading to fill in the gaps. Okay. But it is level 300. So we'll keep meeting every week. But you will read, you present your work, I grade it, then we come and engage. That's how we are going to do it. So over to you, Julia. Now the course objectives quickly. First, we want to provide intellectual foundation for formulating and evaluating concepts which give meaning to the constitution of human society and its organization. What constitutes human society and how it is organized. We want to give you concepts, and we are formulating intellectual foundations for you. We are doing it together for you to see what grounds human society and its organization. Okay. And second, we want to encourage you to think deeply about, not just think, but deeply. Think about it well. Before long, you are minister in charge of human resource or something, or you are minister for finance, or United Nations Secretary General or something, and you are deciding how we should, give COVID aid or something, COVID vaccines to nations. What principle will ground what you are doing? You see, you are in a home managing, you're a matron at a senior high or something, and you will have to all of a sudden decide on who gets what. You are Minister for Fisheries, our woman at that woman, very, very hardworking woman, you see. You have to make those decisions. There should be what? Philosophical grounding. There has to be an intellectual foundation. The thing is based on something, not that you are just doing as and when. Okay? So we want you to think deeply, learn how to do that as a skill, and proffer what? Solutions. Okay. Then third, we are helping you acquire analytic and critical skills needed to address philosophical problems. This is the general one, okay? And political matters to assess proposed solutions to them. What will we expect to be your learning outcomes? First, you should be able to, by the end of the course, you should be trained. This is the measurable one. We'll measure it. Learning outcomes. What should come out of your learning? So that's what the exam, the assessments, and the impromptu in-class exercises. Like today, I could have done that. I just want to be humane because I know some people are still waking up from vacation. They haven't landed school fees and all. Okay, but it can't be for forever. That is why. Otherwise, that assessment would have been today. We drag our feet, it will affect you, not me. So we would have had our first assessment today, but I can tell that some may be still organizing themselves, especially with the, school fees plan, so that they can get access to register and then be able to be on Sakai to answer questions on Sakai. Okay, so by next week, I've done well. So next week you do your presentations, which I will post on Sakai and circulate because I send it to your emails. Even if someone is not on Sakai, you are able to share with them that we learned this. This is the instruction. Engage it when the woman opens assessment, then you post your response there. Why? So I'm saying that your ability to express your views and thoughts clearly. See, not just expressing them, but they should be clear. What are you saying? Clarity is so important. We are developing that skill in you, and we will test you for that when you write. Not about the news item going on necessarily, see, but about philosophical issues. Issues we tease out. So the thing is a social issue, but you tease out a philosophically interesting bit. Okay, we did philosophical questions, how you can distinguish that from, say, sociology questions or political science or cultural questions or raw, human relations questions. Philosophical questions address the fundamentals where we revise your level 100. The basis, it doesn't take anything for granted. You don't assume that one day is given. You question that and then you interrogate and elicit the interpretations that you can give to it. But more importantly, it proposes responses, alternative solutions. If you have a problem with what is there, philosophy is what? Conceptual response to practical existential problems. When you practically respond to it, not when you are only criticized, that's not philosophy. Plato says, when you go out of the cave and see the light and see reality, you are obliged to come back into the cave. That is when your work, your task is completed. You have to come back and enlighten the others there. So your ability to bring the light to the person or to the collective or to the society, the department, the office, in a matured, seasoned way, not in an arrogant, alichon way, that is what completes your task as philosophy, and it's never ending, okay? So second, not just knowing the issues and clearly expressing them, philosophically speaking, but your ability to critically examine arguments and justifications for accepting or rejecting social and political ideologies, theories, and concepts. Okay, how you are able to examine, you can justify. So someone says it is okay to disobey the state in a civil manner. Who said that? A reverend minister. Really? Yes. Martin Luther King Jr. It's a letter from Birmingham jail. You read it and you see disobey because the law itself is not just. So you have to disobey it, but do it in a civil manner. Give room, all the 4 steps he asks for, ultimately disobey. But how can you say that? Well, when you engage, you see that the guy wasn't crazy. Maybe you don't agree with him for everything, but he's making a case. If the law is unjust, why should it be obeyed in the first place? That's his point. So what does he mean by unjust? How does he explain injustice? And what does he think is the cure for injustice? And it's an interesting paper. So as I'm saying it, a serious student would already be Googling it after the class and getting those, raw materials down in their folder on the desktop or on their pen drive somewhere. Then as and when they have a little time, they are reading ahead and teasing out. Okay. Crito tells Socrates, you cannot sit here, friend, and say you are obeying the law. They will kill you for nothing. You haven't done anything. There's an injustice against you. Run. Meanwhile, the guy is sentenced today. Say, run. I will pay for people to take you out. I'm rich. I'm your friend. My conscience will not permit me to see you die for something you haven't done. It's a false accusation. Socrates sat there and looked at him and nodded and said, "Oh, you, my friend." So we'll engage Crito, Crito's Socrates, okay, that dialogue, and see whether it is okay to disobey the state or not. Because Socrates' response to Crito, and that will seem to be what? Contrary to what Martin Luther and his folks will say. But just before you run Martin Luther down, think about it. If blacks were not allowed to go to a certain restaurant with whites then in the Americas, but they are allowed to clean that place. But it is even the church then could not admit certain blacks in there. So there was the black church and the white church. Because black, I mean, think about it before you start saying, "Oh, by those people, why should they endorse, indiscipline and what have you?" The gentleman says that was the law, but the law is sick, it's wrong, it's unjust. It was the law that encouraged, supported, so to speak, the killing of what Jews, anti-Semitism. Then the Nazi law, German, it was a law. So if you hear someone say we can embark on civil disobedience and it is justifiable, and you slow down before you quickly go and say that no kind of indiscipline can be right. Don't only be thinking of our Vanda friends on campus breaking down cars and buildings and say, no, 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 no. As for lawlessness, we can. The man had a prescription that he put across about how to embark on what he thinks is justifiable. What is that? Civil disobedience. So we'll be looking at the justifications of it for certain political ideologies, the theories and the concept. I've heard that some group of people want to embark on demonstration at midnight, 12, 10 or so p.m. And they are having issues with our police, so to speak. It's a socio-political issue. You should hear, listen more than talking, friends. Reflect, and then do philosophical analysis of it. We may want to engage things like that in our discussions to help us do what practical application of them. Okay, they have a right to go on demonstration, but we have a right to be protected. They themselves have a right to be protected. So which one is overruling the other? Over to you, Jolati, and the justifications of it. And third, we want you to be able to account for and analyze concepts in social and political philosophy such as social justice, political legitimacy, I've said all of that, and examine the different perspectives to them. Our method of instruction, those who didn't do nationalism with us, maybe a few of you, but didn't do, take note. Our method of instruction is a little tricky now. Lecture, you see, I'm talking a lot today because I'm introducing you to the content, the course from beginning to end. I'm writing it down for you to get a skeleton. Then week by week, we put on the flesh. And if you are following, you have the whole structure like that, then you will understand what we are. You have the frame. So you understand where we are going to with the discussions and how to connect them and what you should fill in the gap for. And then you will do well. So lecture 5, class discussion. From next week, when we come, you would have had the course outline. You would know what we are going to engage. You do the talking, I'll do the listening and filling in the gaps for you. Okay. Small group work, which starts today and will be submitted next week, God willing. Student presentations. Maybe we'll do the student presentation because your friends are not here. So for you to work as a group, I can take it the week after next week. By your own individual work, you are accountable for that. Library work and general research. This one's coming because you don't have a compiled reader. I have done everything to see if I can get you compiled readings to make your work easier. But I think we should be sensitive to the copyright issues that comes with that issue. People have put their books together. You can't just be taking people's ideas and then copying it. I'm a book writer too. I'm writing stuff. I won't be happy if that is done to me. You are doing that to me anyway. All right, so for each topic, we will discuss the core arguments, key terms and concepts, and their definitions and explanations as a lecture. Then the critical discussion will continue. We will do further elaborations. Questions are always welcome. You are advised, in fact, required to read ahead. Look on your screen, I'm projecting. to read ahead of each topic and prepare a one-page critical summary on the topic for yourself. I may take them. When I realize that the class hasn't done good reading, I will just open the assessment in class like this. That is if we are online, and tell you, go and submit it on Sakai in the next 10, 15 minutes. And then we close it and continue the class like we did in the past. And I'll grade it. Okay, so please, it is in your interest to do that. Also, that people will read before they come for themselves, not for me. Grading, good. Your final grade in this course will be based on your performance in the final examinations, which equals what 50% of your total marks in the course and 50% continuous assessment mark. Your continuous assessment mark will be based on your performance in the interim assessment, IA tests. Your IA will be 20%. Your take-home assignment will be 10%. Group presentation will be 10%. And class participation will total 10%. Class participation can go through about several marathons. Your essays will be graded in terms of your ability to demonstrate an in-depth understanding of theories and ideas covered in the course, clarity of expression and organization, and evidence of critical ability. That one often doesn't come in. The critical ability, people would organize and write everybody. They don't critique, they don't show that they are asking questions of what they are reading or writing. You don't critique what they put down. It's important that you work on that, okay? Regular attendance is expected. Formal attendance will be taken to encourage class. I've told you that. You're expected to arrive in class, okay, all that you know, not later than 10 minutes. Expected to keep written notes well. That's an advice. You may keep it or not. I'll only hold you accountable. Don't send me an email respectfully. After I have uploaded results on the MIs, I've worked like a machine, you know. Then 3 weeks later, someone is now telling me about their IAs and assignment that they couldn't take because, apologies to my ladies, because you had to go and put to bed. You see, I mean, that's a appeal. What are you doing to me? What should I do with that? Okay. So please, make sure you do your assessments and you do them on time. If it's online, keep a good internet. If you are not sure of your internet, come to campus, please, because this reopen assessment may not wash this time. See, I had one encounter last semester. I'm not too pleased about it. Because the student, I think, was good, but had a difficulty with the thing. Okay. No cell phones, all this. Plagiarism, you know already. You score a 0 for that assessment. You know your grading scale. I try to put them. Then this is the minimum reading requirement that you need. Taylor, the atomism, the Miles individualism, communitarianism, social and political. You see them. They are all there. You find them. They're not difficult to get. But I said the readings are available at the library. I will speak to your TA or TSL, maybe one of them, to see what they can do to help you. But you should know, and I'm putting it on record, you're not allowed to do copies. So we'll see. The lecture topics, introductory, we have done that. I took you through, or I've given you some inkling of the class culture. This is the course syllabus we have done. Touch on readings, resources, make reading of notices on Sakai something that you do regularly. Not someone should go and look at it and come and tell you, you didn't see it in your email. I may not even want to post things into your email if I want to. It's your responsibility to go to the course site on Sakai and read announcements there, my dear friends, daily. If you are not clear, you can always contact me. Okay. So the things I discussed, the authority of the state or government, its legitimacy, there they are. Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, the readings to Google Hobbes social contract theory. You will get so much content on that. Read Hobbes first, see what he says, because he's talking about the sovereign, the Leviathan, then followed by John Locke, who tries to soften it a bit, gives more priority to rights and what have you. Then Rousseau, who tries to go collective will and stuff like that. Read, you find it and work on your summary. So that presentation I'll take from you individually, God willing, next week before class is what? A paragraph each of what you read on Hobbes. on Locke, on Rousseau. Read it and write John Locke. According to John Locke's social contract theory, so and so and so and so and so. He says so and so and so and so. One thing that is key in his thing is so and so and so and so. He disagrees with Hobbes on so and so and so and so. However, he seems to be saying so and so and so and so. Stop. Read. If you copy, you will fail the course. I don't want that to happen. God forbid that for any of you. And you do same for Locke. You do, Hobbes, and then you do same for Rousseau. One page. When I say one page, it doesn't help you. So a paragraph of say 150 each. When you are reading, then you write your points down and create that. I'll open assessment 1 day. It's an individual presentation, maybe by Monday or Sunday. Then you upload it and you continue with your reading and be at peace. That way, I'm hoping that people will read the authors there. How will you get these readings? We could compile them for you. You could Google and see it. But the compilation would mean that, I don't know. So just Google them and find out, or contact your TA or something. Okay, you can contact TA yourself for now before you get to listener. The second set are what? The one on individual and community. See Taylor again, the Miles paper. This one you can get it online. That's the link there. It's accessible, free, downloadable. Okay, the pessimism paper. I think we did it together. Come in. The pessimism paper. I'm sorry, someone is knocking. So you can get that online and refresh your memories on them if you haven't done so already. Okay, please it. Then the third one is, should I obey the state? That this is the Creto thing I was referencing all through. The Martin Luther King letter from Birmingham jail. It's a downloadable paper. It's online. You can get it. Creto, the same thing. Socrates' death, when he was going to doing the hemlock thing, it's not something that is difficult to get. But we'll see if you need it compiled for you can send me an email, send TS or someone. I send an email or something like that. Okay, let's know. No excuses whatsoever. That is why you couldn't do the work. This is my concern. Then Paul Wolf, in defense of anarchism, is also accessible. Those would be the third that would be all trying to interrogate the question of whether we should obey the state or not, and why. Maybe I should say we should obey the state indiscriminately or not. Okay, something you can obey the state so far as the laws are just. But if the law is not just, then there can be civil disobedience. You disobey, but in a civil manner. Those are the ones I mentioned earlier. Okay, then lectures 9 to 10 will be on the way human society is organized in terms of what? Economics. See the Libertarian Manifesto, the Communist Manifesto, that's Karl Marx, the John Hospes, and then Rawls's the theory of justice to mitigate or mediate the two extremes. So one group, I won't allow you to tax me, for example, because it's my resource. The other group says, but if it is yours, they do plant the tree in an emptiness. No, it was within a social communal context. And so we have to make sure there is community health. Everybody should be okay. So we take from those who have more and make sure that we balance the sets, something like that. Okay? And Rawls comes to show how that should be done with his theory of justice. So that is the fourth, I think, theme down there, the concept and practice of democracy. You see Robert Dahl, see Kwame Gyekye. We'll focus more on Kwame Gyekye's traditional modernity, philosophical reflections on the African experience, because Robert Dahl is what we know, we are comfortable with, what democracy is, the things that a democratic system must have, the ingredients, the aspects of that. Kwame Gyekye now wants us to look at some aspects of traditional society, the democratic features there that we can adopt, make our current democracy better. Okay, so see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 main themes. Take it that every week captures 2. Will be done in 10 weeks. I'm done. Any questions? Do you have any questions on your assignment? I'll open it immediately, Clara, so that you will know. It will be due Monday evening. Sunday evening in preparation for Monday's lecture. What will it be? You are reading, it's a reading assignment. You are going to read on Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau. What are you reading on them? They are social contract theories, just that. Where is the material? It's all over the place. It's not a difficult text to come by. If you're still struggling to get it, let us know. We'll find a way of getting you those readings compiled without disobeying the rules of the university and the copyright folks. Okay. I'm done. Any questions, friends? Any questions, please? Have you signed? Who is in group 1 here? I hope I did that for you. Did you sign up for groups? Who is in group 1? Nobody in group 1 here. Why didn't I open the groups for you? I'm just cross-checking that quickly so that we can end. Oh, I haven't opened the group for you. Yes, Auntie. I'm listening, Madam.
Doc, you.
Yes, thank you. I've opened groups. So.
Please, what I'm trying to register,
Five
but because you've not registered, I was not able to access.
No, but there's a group. No, the people I see there are 5, 10, 15, 17 people. It's only 17 of you that have been able to complete school fees stuff. I think we are done with the content proper. The rest are conversations to help you. Let me stop the recording. Okay.